Hello, I am Ryan.
Hello, I am Amy. Welcome to Listen to English Podcast. Today's episode is 20 daily life English phrases for speaking fluently.
That's right. It appears that a lot of our listeners are eager to kind of move past textbook English, and start sounding more natural in their everyday conversations.
Yeah, it's a great goal to have because fluency is so much more than just, memorizing grammar rules and vocabulary lists.
Right.
It's about being able to use the language in a way that feels authentic and effortless.
For sure.
And that's where these daily life phrases come in.
Exactly. Think of it like this. You can learn all the individual ingredients for a delicious cake, but, it's the recipe that brings them together in just the right way.
Yeah,
These phrases are like the recipe for natural English conversation.
right.
They help you combine your knowledge in a way that flows smoothly and sounds like a native speaker.
Exactly.
So let's dive into our first batch of phrases, which are all about common greetings and small talk.
Okay.
Now, it's easy to get stuck in the rut of saying hello and how are you all the time. But in reality, there are so many other ways to greet people and strike up a conversation that sound much more natural and engaging.
Absolutely. And studies show that using a variety of greetings can make you come across as more friendly and approachable.
Right.
It shows that you're comfortable with the language and that you're not just relying on, the most basic phrases.
Yeah.
So let's explore some alternatives that you can start using today.
Okay, sounds good.
One of my favorites is, "Hey, what's up?"
Oh, yeah.
It's a casual and friendly way to greet someone, especially if you know them fairly well.
Yeah,
It's like saying, "How are you?" but with a more relaxed and informal vibe.
right.
And it's a great conversation starter because the other person can respond with what they've been up to or how they're feeling.
Exactly. Yeah, it opens up the conversation naturally.
Exactly.
Another similar greeting is, how's it going?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
This one is a bit more general, and you can use it with pretty much anyone.
Right.
It's a good way to acknowledge someone and show that you're interested in how they're doing. And again, it invites the other person to share a bit about themselves.
Uh-huh.
Now, what if you haven't seen someone in a while?
Oh, okay.
In that case, you could use the phrase, long time no see.
Oh, I love that one.
This one is always a good choice when you're reconnecting with someone after a period of time.
Yes.
It expresses a sense of warmth and familiarity, and it acknowledges that you've missed seeing them.
Right.
It's a great way to break the ice and get the conversation flowing again.
I love that one. It's so cheerful and inviting.
Now, let's say you want to catch up with what someone's been doing since you last saw them.
Okay.
You could ask, what have you been up to?
Yeah.
This is a great open-ended question that encourages the other person to share some details about their life.
Right.
It shows that you're genuinely interested in what they've been doing and that you're eager to hear more.
Uh-huh.
And it can lead to some really interesting conversations.
You're absolutely right. So we've already covered 5 alternative greetings. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Long time no see. What have you been up to? And of course, nice to see you, which is always a classic.
Yes, very good.
And just by using these phrases instead of the standard hello and how are you,
Yeah,
you'll instantly sound more natural and fluent in your English conversations.
for sure.
So I encourage you to try them out the next time you're chatting with someone in English.
That's right.
You'll be surprised at how much of a difference they make.
Yeah, and we'll link some resources in the show notes if you guys want to get more examples and more practice with this.
A great idea.
Now let's move on to our next set of phrases, which are all about daily activities.
Okay.
We all have routines and things we do on a daily basis, and there are some really handy phrases that can make you sound more natural when talking about these activities.
Right.
For example, instead of simply saying goodbye, when you're leaving somewhere, you could say, I'm heading out.
Oh, yeah, I like
Oh.
that.
This phrase is a bit more informal,
Yeah.
and it conveys a sense of movement and purpose. It's like saying, I'm on my way out.
Right.
It sounds much smoother than just abruptly saying goodbye.
I agree.
And you can even add a bit more detail to it by saying, I'm heading out to place, or I'm heading out to do activity.
Exactly. It paints a clearer picture for the listener, and it keeps the conversation flowing.
Now, imagine you're at someone's house or at a meeting, and you need to step away for a moment.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, excuse me, you could say, I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
This phrase assures the other person that you're not leaving for good and that you'll return shortly.
Right.
It's polite and reassuring, and it avoids any confusion or awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
And you can even add a reason for stepping away, like, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Just need to grab a drink of water.
That's a good tip. It helps to provide context and avoid any unnecessary concern.
Now let's talk about food.
Okay.
It appears that food is a big part of any culture, and English is no exception. There are lots of colloquial phrases related to food that can make you sound more like a native speaker.
For sure.
For instance, if you're inviting someone to have lunch with you, instead of saying, "Would you like to have lunch with me?"
Yeah.
which can sound a bit formal,
Yeah.
you could say, "Let's grab a bite."
Yeah.
This phrase is casual and friendly, and it suggests a quick and informal meal.
Right.
It's perfect for a lunch break or a casual get-together,
Uh-huh.
and it's much more inviting than a formal invitation.
I love how expressive and concise these phrases can be.
Now, picture this.
Yeah.
You're in a hurry,
Yeah.
and you need to get a coffee on the go.
Okay.
Instead of saying, "Can I have a coffee to take away?" which can sound a bit long-winded, you could simply say, "Can I get a coffee to go?"
Oh, yeah.
This is a common and efficient way to order a drink when you're not planning to stay at the coffee shop.
Right.
It's clear and to the point, and it lets the barista know that you're in a rush.
Exact.
It's the perfect phrase for a busy morning or afternoon.
Uh-huh.
And speaking of being in a rush, let's face it, we've all been there.
Yeah, we have.
We've all had those moments when we're running behind schedule and need to let someone know.
Right.
Instead of stammering through a long explanation, you can simply say, "I'm running late."
Yes.
This phrase is straightforward and universally understood.
Uh-huh.
It conveys the message clearly and efficiently without any unnecessary fuss.
Right.
And it's always a good idea to follow it up with an apology like, "I'm so sorry I'm running late,"
Yeah.
to show that you respect the other person's time.
Absolutely.
So far, we've covered greetings, coming and going, grabbing food, and even being late.
Right.
But there's so much more to explore in the world of daily life English phrases.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In our next segment, we'll delve into phrases that are essential for work and social situations.
Okay. Sounds good.
So stay tuned.
All right.
Welcome back to Listen to English, everyone. In this segment, we're switching gears a bit and focusing on phrases that are particularly helpful in work and social settings.
Okay.
You know those situations where you want to sound confident and professional and at ease? Well, it appears that having a few key phrases up your sleeve can make all the difference in how you're perceived.
That's absolutely true. Studies show that using the right language can boost your credibility and make you sound more competent in professional and social contexts.
Yeah.
It's about choosing words and phrases that convey a sense of clarity, respect, and understanding.
Okay, so let's jump right in and explore some of these essential phrases.
Huh.
Imagine you're starting a meeting or about to embark on a new project.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, "Let's start," which can sound a bit abrupt, you could say, "Let's get started."
That's a great example. It adds a touch of enthusiasm and direction to the task at hand.
Right.
It suggests that you're eager to get things moving and that you're ready to take charge.
I can see how that small change in phrasing can make a big difference in setting the tone. Now, let's say you're taking on a responsibility or someone has asked you to handle something.
Okay.
Instead of simply saying, "I'll do it," which can sound a bit passive, you could say, "I'll take care of it."
That's a much more assertive and reassuring phrase. It conveys a sense of ownership and responsibility. It lets the other person know that you're on top of things and that they can rely on you.
Yeah, it definitely projects an image of competence and reliability. Now, imagine you're working on a project with a team and you need to stay updated on its progress.
Oh, okay.
Instead of saying, "Tell me what's happening," which can sound demanding, you could say, "Keep me posted."
That's a great choice. It's a polite and indirect way to request updates without sounding too pushy.
Right?
It shows that you're interested in being informed, but that you also trust the other person to handle things.
Yeah, it's a great way to strike a balance between being involved and giving others space to work.
Mm.
Now, let's say you're in a situation where you need to give someone else the power to decide.
Okay.
Maybe you're discussing options for a project or trying to make plans with friends.
Right.
Instead of saying, "I don't care,"
Mm.
which can sound dismissive, you could say, "It's up to you."
That's a much more diplomatic and respectful way to handle the situation.
Yeah.
It shows that you value the other person's opinion and that you're willing to defer to their judgment.
It's a great way to foster collaboration and avoid unnecessary conflict.
Yeah.
Okay, last one for the workplace. What if you're in a meeting and someone presents an idea that you really like?
Okay.
Instead of just nodding and saying, "Okay," which can sound a bit flat, you could say, "That sounds good to me."
That's a simple yet effective way to express your agreement.
Yeah.
It shows that you're engaged in the conversation and that you support the idea, and it can help to build momentum and move the discussion forward.
I can see how those subtle shifts in language can make a big difference in how you're perceived in professional settings. But what about social situations? Are there any specific phrases that are particularly helpful in those contexts?
Absolutely. Just like in the workplace, using the right phrases can help you navigate social interactions more smoothly and confidently.
Okay.
It's about finding that sweet spot between being polite, engaging, and authentic.
So what are some examples of phrases that can help us achieve that. Let's say someone is explaining something to you and you finally understand what they're saying.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, okay, which can sound a bit passive, you could say, that makes sense.
That's a great way to show that you're actively listening and that you're following the conversation.
Yeah.
It indicates that you've grasped the concept and that you appreciate the explanation.
It definitely adds a layer of engagement and responsiveness
Yeah.
to the interaction. Now, imagine you're having a conversation with someone and they express an opinion that you completely agree with.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, I agree, which can sound a bit neutral, you could say, I totally agree.
That's a much more enthusiastic and emphatic way to express your agreement.
Yeah.
It shows that you're not just passively agreeing, but that you genuinely share their viewpoint.
Yeah. It adds a bit of passion and personality for the conversation. But what about those times when you're not feeling 100%? Maybe you're a bit sick or just not your usual self. Instead of saying, I'm sick, which can sound a bit blunt, you could say, I'm feeling under the weather.
That's a great example of a common idiom that native English speakers use.
Yeah.
It's a more subtle and polite way to say that you're not feeling well without going into too much detail.
Yeah, it's definitely a phrase that I've heard before, but I haven't always been confident using it myself. It's helpful to have these kinds of idioms in your back pocket.
Absolutely. Idioms can be tricky, but they can also add a touch of color and fluency to your language. And finally, let's say you've been working really hard or you've had a long day and you just need a break.
Right.
Instead of saying, I'm tired, which can sound a bit whiny, you could say, I need to take a break.
Oh, yeah.
That's a more assertive and proactive way to communicate your need for rest. It shows that you're aware of your limits and that you're taking steps to take care of yourself.
Yeah, it's a phrase that I think we can all relate to, especially in today's fast-paced world. So we've covered a wide range of phrases today, from greetings to daily activities to workplace and social situations. It's amazing how these small changes in language can make such a big difference in how we communicate and how we're perceived by others.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is amazing, how much we can convey, with just a few well-chosen words and phrases.
Yes. And the beauty of language is that, it's always evolving. So there's always something new to learn and explore.
That's very true. It appears that our listeners are really eager to take their English fluency to the next level. So do you have any final words of wisdom to share before we wrap up?
I would say the most important thing is to make English a part of your daily life. It's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. So find ways to immerse yourself in the language, whether it's listening to podcasts, reading books, watching movies, or chatting with native speakers.
That's great advice, and it reminds me of something I've been meaning to ask you. It appears that a lot of learners are, afraid of making mistakes when they speak English. What's your take on that?
Oh, it's completely natural to feel that way. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
It's part of the learning process. In fact, I would argue that making mistakes is essential for improvement.
Right.
It's how we identify our weaknesses and figure out what we need to work on.
That's a great point. It's like learning to ride a bike.
Mm-hmm.
You're bound to fall a few times before you find your balance.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and speak English. Even if you're not 100% confident, the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become.
For sure. And remember, we have a website and social media pages where you can connect with other English learners and, find more resources to help you on your journey.
Yeah, and we also love hearing from our listeners. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions or feedback.
That's right. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family who are also learning English. We're all in this together.
Well said. So to recap, we've explored 20 daily life English phrases that can help you sound more natural and confident in your everyday conversations. We covered greetings, daily activities, workplace interactions, social situations, and even how to express your feelings.
Yes, and we talked about the importance of practice, embracing mistakes and immersing yourself in the language.
Absolutely. Remember, language learning is a journey, not a destination. So keep exploring, keep practicing, and most importantly, keep having fun with it.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Listen to English.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Until next time, keep learning and keep shining.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow and reach more English learners like you. By subscribing, you'll never miss a new episode, and by liking the video, you're letting us know you want more helpful content. Thank you for your support. It means so much to us.